What is happening, sports fans? You already know who it is. It's your main man, Matt, from the DFS 5-pack, rocking it solo Monday, September 7th. Ryan had some plans today for the holiday, so he's already got NBA out covered. I got MLB coming off a good weekend, so let's crush this, guys. Before I hop into the DK slate, I'm going to shout out our partners, Overlay DFS, because in my mind, they're the number one DFS site going on right now. The jackpots in both sports are growing big time. As I've mentioned a couple times recently, they've got a new contest selection coming out really soon. I'm not going to spill the beans on all that because I want it to be a surprise when it drops. But trust me, a lot of you guys are going to be really, really happy about it. I'm going to be pumped about it. So can't wait for that to come out. And in the meantime, just really enjoying playing over at Overlay DFS. So again, if you haven't gone over there, go check them out. It's got really easy contests. It's more for the common man, so you can play when you get off work. You don't have to check your lineups all day. Very stress-free DFS. All right, that being said, we got a nice main slate on DK tonight. Let's hop in and run through this. All right, I'm going to screen share this. So starting at pitcher is really, really easy for me tonight. You've got a couple guys up top I think are firmly in play, and I think dropping down all the way to the bottom to Kevin Gausman makes all the sense in the world. I'm sure he's going to be really popular and for good reason. Listen, Gausman's got good stuff. In a lot of ways, he reminds us of Dylan Bundy, and he's having a good year this year, coming off a really good start in Colorado. Check the game log. I mean, this dude hasn't dropped below 15 DK points since his first appearance of the year, and that wasn't even a start. Matched up with a really weak Arizona lineup today. I mean, Gausman is just way too cheap at 6,100. I mean, he could legitimately be 7,500 plus here and still firmly in play. He's definitely a top 5 pitcher on the slate this season. And again, in this matchup, I think it makes all the sense in the world to just lock him in all formats. Now, I'll get to a bat on Arizona, and I don't think using a couple Arizona bats in tournaments is the craziest idea in the world, simply because Gausman's going to be uber chalk. He's been really good this year, but we know he's a guy that can get hit a little bit. So if you're the contrarian player, the kind that likes to play in those massive GPPs and just throw in an entry or two, I get using some Arizona pieces. As far as any optimal line goes, Gausman's going to be in it tonight. He's just way too cheap in a really good spot. All right, looking ahead to some bats. So reason I like Gausman is there's definitely some expensive sticks we want on this slate. Guy that I'm looking at, and the team I'm looking at is the Indians, and it's going to be Jose Ramirez. So looks good right now. 35 DK points over his past couple games. Walked twice yesterday. Got caught stealing. Big thing about Ramirez is he does what DK rewards. He hits homers and he steals bases. Brad Keller has been pretty good this year, so I don't usually want to go out of my way to pick on him. If you look at the pitchers on this slate, though, he's a guy I am looking to pick on tonight. I think the Indians are one of the better offenses on the slate, and Ramirez is their top piece. All right, going on to the other side of this game. So Zach Plesac just pitched against Kansas City in his first start back and was really, really good. I think you can go back to him, no problem. But I also don't think using a couple KC bats against him is, out of the equation at all either. So again, KC just saw Plesac, so they have that advantage there. And while Plesac pitched really well in that outing, he's not always that guy. He's another guy that we know that can get hit a little bit. I don't think he's out of play at all here. But I also don't think that being sneaky with a couple KC pieces is, that crazy by any means here. So a guy that I'm looking at hard is going to be Ed Olivares. So he got traded to Kansas City in the Trevor Rosenthal deal, and he looks good in this Royals outfield. Wasn't on the DK slate for a few games, but now he's on it at 3K. I mean, check the game log. He's got double digits in 3 in a row. He looks good at the plate, and he's a nice piece of this KC lineup that you can spend down on if you want to be a little bit contrarian. I don't want to sell my soul on the Royals tonight. Not a team I'm looking to stack in all 3 of my lineups. But I certainly want a little bit of exposure against a popular pitcher in Plesac when there just aren't a lot of offenses on this slate I like. All right. Potentially my favorite hitter on the slate, which is wild, is going to be Raimel Tapia. So check the game log. Dude is seeing the ball really well right now. Double digits in 4 or 5, 7 in the other game. Started off 0 for 2 last night. Found his way into 3 for 5, scored a run, knocked in a run. At 3,300, he is the ultimate cog in the machine. So Lamet is not one of these guys we want to pick on. He's been very good this year. However, He has a propensity to give it up to lefties. And if you look at his game log, he's only been dominant against Arizona this season. So while that doesn't mean he won't be great tonight, it does give me a little cause for pause with Lamet that his 3 best starts by far all come against the same shitty team. So, again, Colorado's another one of these teams. I'm not trying to stack, sell my soul on the Rockies tonight, but they looked good last night in L.A., and I think you can go right back to a couple of pieces here, namely Tapia, just a filler piece at 3,300. He looks rock solid in all formats. I don't care if you use Lamet, you can use Tapia as a one-off there. Speaking of using a one-off against your pitcher, last but not least, I want to talk about Cole Calhoun. So kind of fits what I was talking about with Gausman in that if you want to be very contrarian, you can use a couple Arizona pieces in tournaments. If you Calhoun's a guy you can use with Gausman, without Gausman, in a stack as a one-off. He's fine. He's a nice filler piece, again, in all formats. You check the game log with Calhoun, just rock solid. A ton of walks, pretty much a walk a game for the past 10 games, maybe a little more than that. Solid DK points pretty much day in and day out. Nothing that's going to blow your socks off. Much more solid than spectacular. But he's also only 3,500. I doubt he gets hardly any love here with Gausman coming in as very chalky. And again, kind of what I talked about earlier on this slate. Mondays, things play out weird. You've got very obvious plays on this slate. So going against the grain a little bit and trying to differentiate yourself that way makes some sense here. So that's what I got for you guys. If you got questions, comments, any of that stuff, holler at me. I'll be around all morning if you want to talk about the early slate. And watch for weather out there today, guys, because I know in Cleveland it is very, very nasty out. So enjoy the day off for all you guys that have it. And thanks, guys.